Hey dude, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Well, Ron Wilson said the only reason Kessel was on the ice for his goal is because Schustrom was asleep on the bench.
Yeah, that's actually what happened.
Well, you see, he's in my pool, so does he get an assist?
You ready? Big news. What? Seriously?
No pigs yet.
What? What was he doing? Wow. Bring him on. Beautiful.
We're going to talk about some news and notes from around the NHL, why my room looks different, and most importantly, Leafs win 2-1 against the New Jersey Devils in the shootout. Is it just me, or do these guys play a lot of shootouts against each other? And pretty uncommon to Leaf games over the last few years, this one was a goalie duel. And speaking of goalies, my jersey. Felix Potvin, and it's autographed. It's too bright outside, so I covered my window with jerseys. But anyway, goaltending duel. The Devils start Jan Denis in this one against the Leafs. And when you get a young goalie like Denis, who's played as few games as he has, you kind of go, phew, look at his stats. In fact, that game improved his stats. He's 3-2-1 and he's made 11 appearances this year. Goals against average of 2.01. His save percentage is 92.5. We're going to call that one the Adam Wild special. And Danny and Jaguar exchanged big saves early on. Danny's biggest mistake of the game was how he covered Phil Kessel's goal, because obviously it was a goal, which made it 1-0 Leafs, and here's the beauty of it. Kessel wasn't supposed to be on the ice. Frederick Schustrom, in his first game back with the Leafs since returning from injury, was asleep on the bench, and Phil couldn't change. Somehow, Freddie, I forgive you on this one. Then Andrew Peters and Colton Orr go at it. Let me ask you guys, who won that fight? Because Andrew Peters landed the best punch, but really, that was the only punch he landed. Orr throwing the body shots at Peters, and by the end of the fight, Peters was huffing and puffing, and you ain't blowing that house down. Although maybe the fight did something, because the Devils come back down the other way, and David Clark's it makes it 1-1. I said it before, and I'll say it again. If I was an NHL GM and we had to do an NHL-wide fantasy draft, David Clarkson would be one of the first guys I got. He hits a ton, he's tough in fights, and somehow manages to score 20 or so goals in the process. Leafs used to have a guy like that. His name was Gary Roberts. And after that Devils goal, the rest of the game was up to the goalies. Denis with a highlight reel save on Grabowski. I don't know what this is. This is how I choose to illustrate it. Then with the third period winding down, the game tied at 1. Jaguar made one of those saves that can only be described by one word. Oh. With that, the game goes to overtime, and overtime solves nothing, so that means the shootout. What a good old-fashioned dangle fest. Phil Kessel dekes the pants off Danny. Going the other way, Zach Parise's deke just wasn't fair. Nikolai Kulemin, the guy can dangle, but just a simple wrister beats Danny. Elias comes in, gets Jaguar to spread the wickets a little bit, but he drops the right leg down and stops him. 2-1. Last but not least, John Mitchell. Going this way, I'm going that. No, I'm not. And how uncharacteristic of this Leafs team to score with all 3 shooters in the shootout. And how appropriate is it that it's in March when it always seems to be. But hey, the Leafs win 5 of their last 6, and now they're chasing down 14th. So let's talk about a couple small things, then we'll get to the big NHL news. Phoenix beats Florida 4-3 in the shootout. You know who scored in that game? Lee Stempniak, who now in 7 games with the Coyotes is a +9 with 7 goals and 2 assists. In his last 7 games with Toronto, he was a -3 with 1 goal and 2 assists. Bleepity bleep bleep bleep. And speaking of bleepity bleep, a lot of Blackhawks fans have to be saying that right now, because another one of their defensemen, Brent Seabrook this time, goes down to injury because of an illegal hit. Ducks defenseman James Wisniewski comes flying in and smashes Seabrook into the boards. And because of this hit, James Wisniewski gets an 8-game suspension from the NHL, which just made the Twitter sphere yesterday explode. I know a lot of you guys have strong opinions on this, so let me know what you think. Was 8 games too much? Hey, was it too little? Personally, at first glance, it doesn't look like an 8-game suspension, but in terms of the way it was delivered, it seemed like a less intense version of Steve Downey's hit on Dean McCammon. But if you're a Blackhawks fan, Wisniewski gets 8 games, Ovechkin gets 2, combine those together, you get 10 games. Brian Campbell's gonna miss more than that. Speaking of teams that are mad, the Boston Bruins. Penguins and Matt Cooke's first game against the Bruins since Matt Cooke took out Mark Savard. Now, how scared are you when you walk into a city and the front page of a newspaper is a wanted poster with your face on it? Early in the game, Matt Cooke's getting booed like crazy, and Sean Thornton says, well, he must be here somewhere. So those two drop the gloves. You gotta give the decision to the much bigger Thornton, and he gets an extra 10 minutes for continuing to punch Cooke while the refs were breaking up the fight. And I might as well ask you guys the question everyone else seems to be asking. Does this mean that it's over? Well, the Bruins lost this game 3-0, and they're in real danger of missing out on the playoffs, so I'd say no. Let me know what you guys think with a text or video response. Add me on Leaf Space, Facebook, and Twitter, and I'll see you next time.